All right, so we're going to cover the hour-a-day content system that I use to make 50 posts a week. And if you guys don't know who I am, my name is Dr. Matt. I'm a physical therapist turned entrepreneur, and I built both low and high ticket coaching companies to seven figures. And our current coaching company does over $100,000 a month. So just want to let you know, we practice what we preach. And we use content to make more money and help more people. Now, right here is just a quick little funnel of the funnel that we use for most of it. We do run some of things that are outside of this, but for most of you guys probably already doing a lot of this, right? Run Instagram ads to get new eyeballs every day. And then your organic content that you're posting every single day is going to build trust and nurture those new people that are coming in from ads, right? From there, we have conversations with them. This could be DMs, it could be text messages, it could be emails, but we're talking to people, seeing what their goals are, seeing if we can help. We then invite them to a sales call and we sign them as a client, right? Like I said, like 1 to 2K is a great starting point for getting started. Ideally, our lifetime value is between $1,000 and $10,000. Okay. So this is the funnel. What we're going to be covering all today is just this blue section here of creating content. I'm also going to go outside of Instagram, but just want to share that, this is what we're talking about today and how it fits in with everything else. Content is not the solution for you to get new eyeballs. It can be, but that's not how we use it. We use content primarily to talk to your ideal client, to nurture, to build that trust so that they can take the next step and become a client. So here's some stats just so you guys can see. I like numbers. I like data. I track pretty much everything. So this is just from this past month alone. So on Instagram, from organic only on Instagram, we booked 32 sales calls just from Instagram alone. From YouTube, we booked 7 sales calls. From Facebook, we don't really post, I cross post on Facebook. We booked 2 sales calls. And then from Threads, this has actually been a platform that's starting to grow for us. We booked 4 sales calls. Now you're like, okay, from all sales calls from ads and content, total calls booked were 73. Now you're probably like, okay, cool. Calls are cool, but tell me about sales. How much do you guys make from content? And this is just a screenshot of our sales from Instagram alone last month. Now we have both high ticket, low ticket. We've got a bunch of different offers we have. What you can see over here is we made 39 sales and 65 recurring sales. Okay, so that totals up to 100 payments just last month made from Instagram alone. Okay, and then the other cool part is that we don't just make sales and book calls, but we're also able to build an audience doing that. So just from Instagram alone, again, I don't create any viral content. If you guys see my content, I typically make a lot of thread posts, a lot of black and white Twitter posts. I'm just on a kick for that. Okay. And just last month alone from that, our email list has grown by 127 people. YouTube, it's grown by 32. It's about 1 a day. Threads, again, it's starting to pop off for us. So we added 61 people to our email list from Threads. That's just from organic alone. We added 210 people to our email list from organic alone. And most of the people who are on this call right now, there's 65 participants. Most of you guys came from email. I didn't promote this very hard. I didn't use any ad money. I didn't promote this hard at all on social. But yeah, or for us, our plan, we use organic to really help us just build the audience, and then we use email as well to get people on here to continue to further that know, like, and trust. And pretty much I do all this at just 60 minutes a day of work. Now, YouTube is the only exception for this. That's because I do 2 YouTube videos a week. I'm going to go over how I batch that, how I create all that. But for most of the things, I actually stick closer to 30 minutes a day of all this work. And I've got some systems and I've got some people who can help me get that content that I do post and broadcast it out to other channels. Okay. But it wasn't always like that for me. I used to dread making content. Put a 1 in the chat if you're like, yes, I've been there, right? I used to feel like I was spending so much time on my content, and I never really got a lot of leads from it, right? Or clients for my coaching program, and I was spending so much time, and it was really frustrating because the results that I got just didn't match the amount of time and energy that I was spending making content. And it felt like this, I just was exhausted. I'd be on a hamster wheel and just trying to keep up with posting content every day. And I'd even wake up and be like, what am I supposed to post today? That question is one of the worst questions to get, because then if you feel like you're not posting and you know you need to create content to get clients, you're just like, you feel kind of stuck, right? And in 2023, my business started to grow a lot because I started to rely really heavily on ads. And I was like, oh, this is nice. I know I don't have to spend as much time creating content. So my time got less and less as I was spending money on ads, and I was taking sales calls. I was in the DMs, and I started to like miss some days of posting. And at first, my revenue didn't change. So I was like, oh, cool. Maybe I just stop focusing so much on posting content, showing up in stories, and doing all that stuff. But then what happened for me was that after 90 days of kind of posting just like okay content, but it wasn't great content, I started to see some negative consequences. I started to see lower show up rates, started to see lower closing rates, and I started to see lower cash collected rates on the sales calls that I had. And all of this came down to really one thing: trust. Trust. You can run ads all day, and you can run them to a video sales letter. You can run them to like the follower funnel. You can get more followers. You can run ads to the DMs. You can run ads to a webinar like this. But content was one of the fastest ways just to build trust and to keep trust. If you're just getting hit with ad after ad, and the ads are over promising guarantees and just like all in your face, immediately when you see that, you might even have like a red flag that trust goes up. You're like, I don't know if I trust this person. Like, why are they saying such big, bold claims? And, what we realize is that content is a tool to build trust with your audience. You can build your audience with ads, but content is the tool that's going to help them build trust so that they do know, like, and trust you, so they feel comfortable responding to your DMs, right? So if you get a new follower, you shoot them a DM. If your content sucks, nobody's going to DM you back. So a lot of times when people come to me and say, my ads aren't working, I just say your content sucks. And if you fix your content, your ads are going to be fine. But I wouldn't want to respond to you looking at your account. And maybe that's like a gut check for everybody here, is like, look at your actual account and see, like, am I actually producing content that's worthy of getting a response? Would you respond to you if you DM'd you, right? So that was happening. And I was like, all right, I got to start building more systems to make content more efficient. I can't be missing days. I need to make good content, and I have to do it efficiently. Okay. So what I did is I sat down and I found a system, worked on a system, and found this thing that allowed me to work for pretty much an hour a day. And I could make a ton of good content. Now, a system, let's just talk about what that word means. A system is a repeatable process to get predictable results. A system does not mean ChatGPT automated everything for you. If you're here right now and you're like, Matt, I came to this so I could learn how to make 50 pieces of content in 1 hour, and I don't really want to market, I actually just want like automations and AI to do it all for me, you're in the wrong place. Okay. You're in the wrong place. It's not going to work. Okay. I'm going to probably hit on this a little bit more throughout. Okay. But I just want to say, like, it's going to come up in a second, just the amount of time you need to spend doing this. Okay. So after implementing what I'm going to share with you today, we were able to double our prices. Our closing rate is above 40% now. Jared, you're the man. And most importantly, I have fun making content again. I have fun making content, and I look forward to it. And that's what I'm going to share with you guys today. Now, more on the mindset piece, because I told you more was coming. You might think, man, but 60 minutes a day is just such a long time. Well, look, if you want to make money and be an online coach, support people online, you've got to spend time marketing, right? 5 to 6 hours a week is really only 12 to 15% of your work week if you're working 40 hours a week. I think that's accurate with 40 hours a week. Let me know if I'm wrong, but you can see what I'm saying. It's not that much. But if you're going to be online, one of the things you have to learn how to do is how to market and how to sell. And if you don't like that, like I've worked with a lot of coaches who just don't like marketing and they don't want to create content. And that's okay. You can be an assistant coach for somebody like Mr. Kevin Torres over here. He's got at least 2 assistant coaches. I know a lot of you guys do too. And that's okay. Like, I've seen a lot of people who really struggle with this and don't like it. And it's really hard. Like, if someone hates their diet plan or hates their nutrition plan and hates working out, it's really hard to be like, all right, we'll just keep doing it just for this goal, right? So you got to fall in love with the process. And if you can't fall in love with the process, it's really hard for you to be successful. Okay. So what I hope today, I hope I don't scare too much of you, but I'd like to be able to share with you guys, like, how I do this And it takes work. It's not a plug and play ChatGPT system that's going to give you everything you need. Okay. You can do that, but it's missing the authenticity piece. Okay. And that's like a very big part of being an online coach is being the attractive character that people want to become. And if you're just spitting out ChatGPT, I don't care if you make a ChatGPT bot. It's not the way. Okay. Okay. It can help you with ideas, but it's not the way. Don't automate all of it. Okay. I'll teach you how to do this in a very efficient way. Okay. All right. In this presentation, I'm going to talk about how to do it an hour a day. That's how I like to do it. Right. But some people may be like, Matt, I'd rather just batch this. I'd rather just spend like 2 days doing this a week. You can do that as well. Okay. If you like batching, great. If you have a full-time job, it's probably going to be easier for you to batch this, right? If it's a side hustle. If you're all in, I'm going to encourage you to do this an hour a day because just like going to the gym or anything else, like building that practice, right? I'm practicing marketing. I'm practicing this skill to become better. And if I can do that every single day, I'm going to get to the result a lot faster than spending, 1 or 2 days a week just like on it. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and jump in. So I'm really excited. We're going to go over all the different levels. And again, these are going to be based primarily off of revenue targets of like where your business is at. And as you make more money, you can start to devote more time and attention to different platforms. And you'll see that the number of posts will go up as you do that. If you're under 20K a month, we're just going to talk about Instagram. And that's where I imagine a lot of you guys are when it's all the ones and twos. So we'll cover a lot of this here, but I will share with you like how it will progress as you increase your revenue. Okay. Now, step one for all of these, we're gonna do just one at a time. But step one is going to be research. Now, before we get to research, we need to have a posting strategy that you guys are like excited to do, right? We need to have a strategy or at least a template that's going to help us when we look for research. What type of post are we actually looking to create, right? So what I have here is a weekly posting schedule. And if you guys want, you can just like go on Instagram, and if you just DM me DM me the word schedule, and I'll send this over to you guys. And I'll send this over, and I'll also send over a script thing. Send over the word content, okay? Because that'll help. And I'll send both of these over to you. So these will be 2 resources that I can give you guys, okay? So first thing is here, we're just going to go over this posting schedule, okay? Now, there's something about this that's necessarily like special. This is what we use, and it works really well. And I'll tell you why, okay? This is made up of, we typically post 6 days a week. Sometimes I'll post like 5 days a week. But it's got 2 really integral and key components to this. One is there's 2 story posts or personal connection posts. And like I mentioned earlier, it's like the authenticity is a huge role in creating content online. And like you sharing your story and who you are plays a really big role in somebody connecting with you and seeing themselves in your shoes. So every week, I encourage people to post at least 2 personal stories / vulnerable connection posts. Okay. And the vulnerability stuff, like it should feel uncomfortable to push like posts sometimes. You're like, oh, I'm really going there. I'm really going to share what it was like for me before, I got in shape. All those feelings and thoughts that went through my head that if somebody actually heard this, I might feel a little ashamed or embarrassed. Yes, because that's the same thoughts that a lot of your clients are experiencing, right? So I post 2 of those a week. And then there's 2 value posts a week in here as well. So it's like Monday, Thursday, kind of just like spread them out. So those will be there. And then I also look for at least 1 testimonial social proof post a week. This just positions you as the authority, as the expert, and shows that you can get the result that you're promising, right? And then Friday, this is just an example. And this one could be throwing a rock, taking a stand, going on a rant, something that might ruffle some feathers. Okay. So this is a very simple posting strategy. I don't necessarily always follow this to a T, right? I'm on a Threads kick, if you guys have seen, but this is a really good starting place for what should I create? Because for us to build this know, like, and trust, we've got to share our story and talk about what makes us us. And then we have to show, provide value. And then we have to also show that we can get results. Okay. So this is like 2 connection posts, 2 value posts, 1 social proof, and 1, taking a stand. Okay. I'm not really going to worry too much about stories because we're really just focused today on Instagram and posts. Okay. All right. So now let's jump into this. Now, if you're a beginner coach, right, you're doing under $20,000 a month. This is the system that I want you to follow. Okay. This is the system that I used when I was starting, and it really helped me streamline things. And again, remember the word system I talked about earlier. Like, system is repeatable processes that you do to get a predictable outcome. So how I've chunked this down is there's 4 phases that you would essentially go through every single week. And me doing these things is the system. And if a stage of this is missing, if I skip a day, it will mess the system up, right? It will mess the result of me having good content to create. Okay. So phase one is research, right? And I talked about you need to have a strategy that you're going for, because if I know that I'm going to post a value post and I start research, I have to then figure out, well, or I need to know what type of post I'm looking for when I do research. So if it's a value post, I'm going to look for that. If I'm looking for a social proof or testimonial post, I'm going to look for that, right? So I need a posting strategy, a schedule that I want to commit to. And then once I do, I'm going to start looking for those posts. Okay. So what I'm going to do for this first one, this first level, is I'm going to go through these one at a time and kind of show you how I like research, how I write content, how I make content, how I schedule it. And then we'll keep going down and I'll show you what gets added as we progress stages. Now, stage 5, all these stages, I think there's four here. There's 3 levels, but there's 4 variations. They're all going to be using the same ones as our beginner level, same principles and same actions and phases essentially as this first one. Okay. So phase 1 is research. If you're having a hard time coming up with ideas, it's typically because you don't spend enough time researching content and looking for ideas to post. If you're starting your day off with just like, all right, a blank Google sheet or a Google Drive, or you're even just like open your phone, like, what do I create today? That's because you didn't research. And the easiest way to research is to go on your feed and start. Well, first off, unfollow people that you don't actually get value from. You want to ideally follow just people that you look up to and give you good ideas. And if you start to engage on social media, on Instagram, on TikTok, on these platforms, and you start liking and saving certain content, it's like good content that you're getting inspired by, and it's feeding you ideas for your content, the platforms will just keep feeding to you, right? But if you're liking your friends' a bridal shower, or you're liking things that have nothing to do with your business, you're going to start to get more fed to you. So I know some people who legit have separate accounts who just do it for content research. You don't have to do that. I'm not saying to do that. That's just if you wanted to just use your feed. Other ways to do this is to look for, like, make a list of like 5 to 10 creators that create really good content and just go through their content. Okay. So for instance, I know Kevin Torres is here. Kevin, I'm doing you. So I could go to Kevin's. Kevin creates some awesome content, and I could go through here and just look for some of Kevin's top performing content. Okay. See if we can find a good one, Kevin. Okay. So this one's got close to like 1,000. It's got 918 likes, 109 comments. So I can see what made this post a really good post. Okay. And if I liked this post, I'm like, dude, that's a genius. I could do that. That's a great post. I could do that. Then all I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here to this post and I'm going to save it. Okay. And you can kind of see, I'm going to get to this in a second, but inside of Instagram, I actually have different folders in my saved collection for different types of things that inspire me. So on Instagram, I typically create reels. Sometimes I will create a lot of tweets and carousels. And then I also save ads, right? So for 30 minutes, like you guys just saw here, or 60 minutes, when you're getting started, 60 minutes, you're just going to block off an hour once a week, and you're going to do this, right? And you could legit do this. Just stay on one person's account and just go through, all right, what is Kevin's best content? Okay, this one did pretty good. Hey, have we met yet? So this is more of a connection post. Cool, I'm going to save that, Kevin. All right. And then I'm going to keep going down. All right, cool. This one got 884 likes. If I had to lose 20 plus pounds again, here's the workout I'd do. I like that. I might steal that hook. Safe, right? And I could keep doing this. All right, here's another one that got 742 likes. Do this 50-minute workout to ditch the dad bod. nice hook. I like it. I'm going to save it, right? So I could do this and then I could go, okay, cool. What are other accounts that do, something similar? So I could go, let's just type in dad bod and see if there's more accounts. Okay. Here's another guy, same type of avatar. So I'm looking at other avatars, pretending my avatar here is helping, busy dads get in shape, right? So now I'm going to go through here and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to look for this one, crushed it. Okay. It's got 1,100 likes and he's using, this is genius. He's using someone else's audience or someone else's brand to essentially attract more people. So he's using, Hugh Jackman, right? It's a new movie. Great. Great angle. Smart idea. I'm going to save it. Okay. I'm going to keep doing this. Okay. This one did good. In-N-Out burger. So he's like, here's the best thing to order In-N-Out. Doesn't really resonate with me. I probably wouldn't post that. So I'm not. Ooh, is Diet Coke poisons? Okay. That got 2,000 likes. Cool. Good idea. So, I just want to show you how I do it, right? So I just did that. I could do that for, I put 60 minutes in here because I think it's really important when you get started. But if you do that for 30 minutes, you should save like 60 to 90 posts, right? But what I'm doing here is I'm kind of like segmenting out each section and I'm not just like, all right, what am I going to post today? I'm going to go research, then I'm going to write it, then I'm going to make it, then I'm going to post it. If I do that all in one day, that becomes exhausting. But if I can batch the tasks one at a time and build a bank of ideas, now I'm in a really good position, right? So level one, research. Do exactly what I did. Find other avatars or other business owners that have a similar avatar as you and build a massive, massive saved profile or saved whatever saves on Instagram. Now you can do the same thing on TikTok. You can do the same thing on Twitter. You can do the same thing on YouTube. All of this applies to the same exact thing. Same principle applies to different platforms. So for me, I have different folders that helps everything stay organized and clean, right? And I've got a bunch of different carousel ideas. Okay, some of these are for ads, some of these are not, but these are just some that I liked. And I have replicated a lot of these different ideas with my own spin on things. And typically after I use something, I'll remove it from my archive. But this is typically what I'll do. I got some Brian Mark stuff in there. He's got some good hooks, right? So now that I have all this stuff, right? Now it's a lot easier for me to say, all right, what am I going to create today? Well, after I've done that on this day, the next phase is writing your content. So all I do is I come into my real stuff and I see, all right, I've got all these ideas. Which of these like lands the most with me right now, right? Because a part of content creation should be fun. If you're like, oh, I gotta post this today, and you're just not inspired by it, like your audience feel that too, right? So let's just pretend that I'm writing a piece of content and I'm looking for essentially like on this phase, in these 2 days, we're looking for 5 posts. Okay, if you're beginner level, do 5 posts, 6 posts if you want to post on Saturdays too. But we're just trying to post at least every weekday. Okay, so when it comes to my Tuesday, I'm going to pick 2 or 3 posts, right, from here that I really like, and I'm going to create my own version of that. And now when I'm looking for like when I made this big save folder, when it's time to writing, like coming time to picking the content I'll create, I don't want to just like I would never just copy this guy's like word for word, right? Don't do that. That's copywriting. Or plagiarism. You don't do that, right? But there may be certain elements of this that I like, right? And then that's what's going to help give me the ideas of what do I want to create for my post. Now, you can pull the whole concept of the idea. You can pull just a hook alone, or you could pull even the content that's inside of it. But we have to make sure that we wrap it a little bit different than how they did it. I mean, not even a little bit. I would say a pretty decent amount different. You don't want to copy this word for word. Do not do that. You will get a bad rep. But pulling the idea of here's how Hugh Jackman trains, or like, hey, I did an analysis on Hugh Jackman's training program for his new movie. That's pretty smart. I don't know if you guys watch, you guys know who Renaissance Periodization is, RP, but they do that too. If you go to their YouTube, that's how they grow their YouTube. Like all of them are pretty much just talking about, like not all of them, but like the ones that get the most views, it's Mike Israetel. If you guys don't know who he is, he's great. Who's critiquing some popular person like Joe Rogan, like he does the Hugh Jackman, but essentially like leverages their personal brands to grow their audience, which is very smart. Okay, but that's one way that we can replicate that. Okay, another way would be looking for the hooks. Okay, what hook did they use? Now, once I've consumed that piece of content and be like, okay, now I want to write a piece of content that's like that, and I want to reuse the hook. Then we come over to this content scripts, and again, if you guys just DM me the word content, I'll send this to you guys tomorrow. We essentially just write this out. So if the hook for this one, let's just pretend that I really like the hook. You can put on some serious muscle like Hugh Jackman did at 55. Okay, so I didn't really like that, but let's say that I really like that hook. I'm like, oh, that's a great hook. Then I could use that same hook and then change the context inside of here that then shows like, how I'm an expert and what I would then recommend. Okay. Most hooks or most scripts when you make content follow this same principle here. There's a hook, there's some sort of context or lead in to your bullet points or like how people get results. And then there's a call to action at the end. Okay. So we liked a bunch of stuff, right? We saved it into a folder. Comes down to writing. I want you guys to spend 60 minutes a day writing. And for most of you who are here, if you have a hard time with content, it's shortening what you're actually saying. Like it's removing words. And that's why I really like this content scripts document that I'll send you guys, is that it can't go very long. Like you've got to have it all be very short, straightforward, succinct if you want it to land. Okay. So you're going to write out the thing one line at a time if it's a reel. Now, if it's not a reel, if it is a carousel, great. Same thing. Instead of a hook, it'd just be carousel 1, right? Carousel 2. There's a hook slide in all of the carousels. There's typically a second hook slide. And then there's your, slide 1. Here's your first tip, second tip, third tip, fourth tip. And it kind of keeps going. So it doesn't really matter if it's a reel or if it's carousel, but your homework here is to just write. And I promise you, like, you might not want to do this, but it's going to help you so much. Again, if you can just practice writing every single day. All right. So I build a library. I spend an hour a day writing on Tuesday and Wednesday. All I'm doing is I'm repurposing ideas. I'm putting my own spin on it, putting it in my language. If you need help with this, ChatGPT is super helpful. Okay. Now, once I've got that written, so for 2 days, my whole goal here is I'm going to write 5 posts, right? 5 posts. You can do this first thing in the morning. Now, then it gets time to make your content. Now, if you're doing a reel, I'll tell you guys just like how I do reels, and then I'll also show you guys how I do carousels. But if you're doing a reel, ideally what you want to do is you've got your script open right here, and you read it one line at a time, right? If this is a reel, it's like a talking head reel. I'll talk to the camera and I'll say the hook really strong, and I'll typically redo that hook like 3 or 4 times. And when I'll just keep the camera going, right? So a lot of times I would use my phone and I'd have it like right underneath or like right next to my screen. So I could legit have my phone here. I could look at the hook. I look back at my phone, say the hook, right? Then I would go to the next line, do that same thing 3 or 4 times. And I really just film it like one line at a time and get a couple different takes of it. And then I'd edit it on the next day, or I'd send it off to an editor. Okay. So like if you have 2 days of it, like day 1 for you is like, cool, I've got my five scripts or whatever I'm doing. This day, all you're going to do is just record. You're not going to edit. You're not going to write copy. You're not going to schedule posts. You're not going to research, because all these different phases here require different, like, I don't say different parts of the brain, but like they're different tasks. Me doing research is different than me writing. Me making content is different than me writing. This is like, if I'm doing the camera stuff, it's like I'm acting. If I'm making content, I'm trying to make it look visually appearing inside of like a Canva, or if I'm using the carousel stuff I'll show you in a second, a lot of that is more aesthetically trying to make it look good, not trying to make it punchier, right? And then the last part of this is going to be scheduling. Okay. So again, if I'm going to be doing a reel, I'm going to just film it one thing at a time, or even one scene at a time, and take the best cut. If you're going to do one that's more B-roll, style, right? You're probably still going to have a couple different cuts. Like I know Kevin, again, in a lot of his content, he might be filming a workout, but he's got several scenes. And then as the scene changes, he's not necessarily talking, but the points may change as the scene changes. So for instance, like if he's doing a kettlebell or a dumbbell snatch in movement one, that could be the hook. Then the scene changes, he's doing burpees. Okay, cool. This is going to have the next thing on there, right? Doesn't always have to be talking heads. Just want to give you guys different examples. But as those scenes change, so does the words that are on the screen. Okay. Now, I want to share with you guys too how I make my Twitter style stuff, because if you guys follow me, I create a ton of Twitter style stuff that's just, it honestly gets a lot better engagement. And I like to write. I like to write. And it's pretty easy to make. So what I do for this is I actually write all of my stuff on Twitter. Okay. So I actually do post it all on Twitter. And even if you don't have a Twitter, like I don't have much engagement at all on Twitter. I legit just use Twitter so that I can repost this onto Instagram. Okay. So let me just show you kind of an example here. What I can use is I use Twitter, and then I use this app called Tweet Hunter. It's called Tweet Pick. If you guys take anything from this, this is definitely a hack. Okay. And what I can do here is I can just like copy this tweet pick, the tweet link. And I just come over to Tweet Hunter, Tweet Pick, and push screenshot. And then right as I do that, I've got my post essentially made. I mean, I need to edit it, but let's say I want to do the Instagram vertical feed, give me a little bit more spacing. I want it to be black. Great. I don't necessarily like that, Dan Kennedy's name gets chopped off here. So I might be able to modify it a little bit. But this doesn't always look the best. Sometimes I'll just go to Canva if I can't get it to be perfect. But I could also come in here and I could just kind of change the width of this, kind of like that, a little better. Dan Kennedy's name doesn't get chopped off, right? So I could say, cool, I like that enough. I'm going to save it, and then I'll take it to the next step. Okay. So again, for all the writing that I do, I actually do write it, and I post it on Twitter. And then in this section here of making the content is, like I said, that's making this actually look visually appearing. It's a little different than actually posting it and making it. You know what I mean? And then from here, I can just download this. And I can upload it to Later, which is the next software we're going to go over, because that's what I use to post content. Okay. So coming back over here, is all this making sense so far? You kind of see how this is a system, right? It's like, what is the first thing that has to happen? Research. Second part, write. Third part, make content. Fourth part, schedule it and post it. Okay. Very simple, but I break it up. I do not do it all at once. I've tried doing it all at once. It's exhausting. Okay. This way, way more efficient. And I haven't really mentioned here, but as you guys, like, once you start getting closer to even 10 grand a month, I would highly suggest hiring a video editor if you're going to do some of the reels and stuff, because that is not a very highly skilled, high leverage task, and it will get you so much time back. So if you want to edit yourself, you can, but again, that's going to take a lot more time, because like if you film all this day, it might take you more than 60 minutes just to edit. It may not, but like, I'm not a very efficient editor. Okay. And then lastly is scheduling the content. So I use Later for all of my stuff. You can use a lot of the platforms already have it all natively inside of them. There's not like a pro or con to them. I just like Later. I've been using it for years, and it works really well for me. So after I've edited, or I've had either after I've filmed the video, I've got it edited, or after I've made my tweet pick post, I would essentially download this, throw it all into Later, and then I would just start scheduling it out. Okay. And typically I like to do these on Sundays, and I'll at least get like a week ahead. And that works really well for me. And I can get it done really fast. I can get it done efficiently. I can spend like 30 minutes just writing some of the captions and going straight in to the next week. So that alone is all you need to focus on if you're doing under 20K a month. You don't need to do anything more fancy than that. Set aside 60 minutes. I encourage the morning. Mornings just like you'll be a little bit more productive. But like, this is a skill that you really want to get better at. Like, spend that time, dedicate this time to 60 minutes of I'm working on content every day. Okay. Now from this, you should generate 5 posts a week. Okay. This isn't the most efficient process, right? This is like the start. I'm just becoming a beginner. I'm consuming content. I'm finding what's working. I'm writing my own version of it. I'm making it, I'm scheduling it. Excellent. Don't change anything. Do not add YouTube. Do not add email. Do not add anything until you've done over $20,000 a month. You can run ads and do this, and you're going to be great. Now, as you start to do this, you're going to start to notice something, and it's going to be that I don't need 60 minutes to do research. I don't need 60 minutes to write. I don't even need 60 minutes to do this. So you're going to start to see that as you become more efficient with this, your time is going to drop. So this kind of just took out a Tuesday because you're going to get better, right? And as you get better, you're going to start knowing, okay, wow, I now know the type of content that actually does work for me, the type of content that generates conversations, the type of content that generates new followers, new sales. Like I know what works now because I've been doing this consistently for 3 to 6 months, right? And now that you're doing that, you can spend less time researching. Okay. You probably are only going to need 1 day to write all 5 posts instead of 2 days. Same thing here is you're probably not going to need 2 days to make content. But I'll tell you, when you're getting started, it's way better to overschedule and pretend that it's going to take you a longer time than to not. Because if you don't block off your time, you're not going to get it done. You just won't do it. Right? Like even for me, I'm sure a lot of you guys probably feel this way. It's like I have to block off. Like if I'm actually going to do something like create content, if I block off just an hour, like let's say I'm going to record a bunch of videos, or I'm going to go do a deep work session where I'm going to combine some of this, like a blocked off session. If I block off too little of a time, and I have all this to get done, like 2 days worth, it's not going to happen. But if I block off multiple times, it's okay if your girlfriend calls you. It's okay if the kids walk in. Like you've got time. But if you have all of this, like I got to get all of this stuff done in 60 minutes, you're going to be spread too thin, and you're going to be stressed out, and the post is going to suck. And again, like our goal is to create good, valuable content that helps people so it can build trust and eventually help them. Right.
So again, pause you before we get into level 2.
Yes.
There's 3 questions that came up that I did want to hit before we go on. One is, can you use the Twitter style screenshot for carousel posts?
You can. So let me show you an example of this. Now, what I have done, RVA will pull them all manually, but there is I think there's a paid version of this, and I did have it for some time. But with the paid version, I used to just push screenshot, and it would pull all of them, like at one. But I stopped paying for the paid version. So essentially, what you would do is if you want the paid version, you can do it all. Just post it once, and all of them will come through, or you can post them all just like one link at a time, like this, and that should pull it. It might not pull it. Sometimes it's a little glitchy, but the paid version is not glitchy. You got to pay for that. All right, so it didn't pull all of them. But yes, you can. You might have to pay for it. If not, you can just do them one at a time, and then just save the slides one at a time. It's not as efficient. So if you are going to do it in bulk, probably a better idea just to get the $20 a month version. It'll save you so much time. It's worth the $20.
Next question is from Boris. He wanted to know, what was the website you mentioned before hiring a video editor?
Good question. We're talking here?
Yeah.
Oh, what I use to edit videos and stuff like that?
Yes.
I use Captions. Captions is what I had used before. I know some people like CapCut as well. Honestly, it's whatever is going to be the most efficient for you is what I would use.
Gotcha. It looks like he has a follow-up of a website for hiring freelancers. Do you recommend?
Oh yeah, I use Upwork or Fiverr. Fiverr, what I've noticed from both, and this is for low level tasks, but like tasks like this, I wouldn't go to Upwork or Fiverr to find somebody to like run your ads or stuff for you. That's not good. But if you just need help with video editing, Upwork or Fiverr is pretty simple, and you should pay like $25 to $35 a video. That's kind of typical. I mean, you might find some that are cheaper than that, but if you want a good video, I think like 25 to 35 is pretty good.
Cool. Last question is, when's the best time to post? It's from Tuesday Y1. I don't know if that's the name.
Yeah.
I was going to say it seems like you do from 9 to 10 o'clock, but
yeah, I do 9 a.m. and that's just the easiest for me. I have all my stuff inside of Later already scheduled at this time. It's all at 9. I've just found that works best for me. I mean, the key, like the best time is the time that you're going to consistently post every single time. Yeah, I think I keep going back to Kevin. I know because I know Kevin's offer pretty well. I think he posts like 7 a.m. sometimes maybe even earlier. He's up so early, and that just works the best for him. I know some people who post at 6 p.m., but they typically stick around the same time every day.
Right.
Okay, so level one, again, the whole thing here is that you're spending an hour a day, you're getting better at the task. Only way we get better is by doing it. Level two, we start to get more efficient, so we can start to cut out some of the days. We might not need a full, like a Tuesday, and I don't want to create content on, on a Friday. So you can start taking some days off, which is great. You can start to just like shrink the time that we do because we're more efficient at it. Now, if you know that you're somebody that might need some more time to actually, like I said, like the disruptions and distractions, you might want to block off, an hour and a half these times, knowing that you're only going to have an hour of like deep work tasks during that time period. So again, during this phase, same exact thing. At this phase, I would highly suggest getting a video editor again. Don't spend so much time on editing videos. You're not a video editor. You're a business owner. You're a coach. You're an entrepreneur. Your job is to help your clients. It's not to make content. It is to make content, but it's not to edit content. That is a task. Again, you can outsource for $25 an hour. Almost all of you guys, I imagine, charge more than $20 an hour, right? And it's going to take you probably a decent amount of chunk of time to edit a video. Just don't do it. Just send it off to somebody. Okay. Find a process. Yeah. If you have like even 2 reels a week, if they're $25, that's $50 a week. 100, it's like $200 a month. Okay. Like you could book a call DMs and make more in an hour versus doing that. Okay. All right. So everything else is the same here. And the only thing I added over here was to start to repurpose, right? Because I talked about how, the title of this is how to make 50 pieces of content in an hour a day. Well, this one up here, you're not ready to do that yet. And honestly, your content's probably not good enough to do that. So just focus on 1 post a day and making really solid posts. Okay. Second level here is once we're doing that, now we can start to repurpose because we have extra time, right? We've got extra time, and all you have to do is just spend an extra 5 minutes just to simply repost everything across different platforms. Okay. So automatically, if you have 5 posts a week here, if I cross post to Facebook, if I post this to TikTok, if I post this to LinkedIn, I mean, you could even post it to YouTube, but just by legit copying and pasting it, whenever you post, you're gonna automatically go up to 20 posts a week. Very, very simply. And for a lot of these, like even later, it already gives me the option to do Twitter as well as, I think they should be, well, we don't have any videos right now, but they should have those options there to where I could, if I was posting more reels, I could just have all these selected, right? So they're already going to post. Now, one thing that I've noticed is with Facebook, even though I have cross posting enabled, I just recently realized this as I was making this presentation. I was like, oh shoot, my Instagram stuff is not getting posted to Facebook because I set up the automation in later. If I post it manually, it will automatically go over to, like on my phone, it will automatically post over to Facebook, but it's not doing that from later. So I'm gonna have my VA start posting it to Facebook as well. Okay. Now you can, like I just said, I use my VA to do this. Like you 100% don't need to be the person who's posting this stuff. This is where, as you start to get better and truly make this into a system, right? There will be what we call standard operating procedures or SOPs for each of these phases. And you can outsource a lot of the stages. You can outsource the research. Hey, I need you to go, hey, VA, here is what I want you to do. I want you to go to Kevin Torres's page. I want you to find 5 new reels a week that are really good from here. I then want you to go to this page. I want you to find 5 new carousels that work really well. You can outsource this and pay a VA, $10, $20 an hour to just go and do research for you. Okay. Writing content, making content. I encourage you guys to not outsource that. I think it's better if you do it. Okay. To build that relationship, it's really you. It's not ChatGPT. And then same thing with scheduling. So for me, with this stage here, I actually have my team who, like, again, I post it here. My team comes in and they'll copy all these links. They'll make them the tweet hunter picks, and they'll also communicate with the editor and upload them all in here. And then they'll write the first round of the caption, and then I will edit it. Okay. Now it took me a while to do that. Like I started doing that when I was probably closer to 40, 50K a month, because I just I wanted more control over things. But as you start, you could absolutely do it if you wanted to when you're closer to 10, 20K a month. But yeah, it's just like you can start to see that certain parts of these we can start to develop. Here's how I do this. 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 And we can start to outsource these things, right? But they're still going to require a certain amount of time per week. And same thing for this, right? Of like repurposing. I do give all of my VAs access to my accounts. I'm not really hesitant or worried about that. I know some people are a little hesitant or worried about it. I just trust them a lot. They're all pretty much US bound, and they're just good people. Okay. So level 2. Now level 3, this is where it starts to get a little, or level, this is actually true level 2, because I think both these are level, this is level 2. Yeah. So this is level 2.B. Okay. Now I found a lot of success recently with writing on threads and on Twitter. And if you guys have watched any of my content about this, it's actually where I do a lot of my content research with ideas, and whatever does really well on threads or on Twitter, those are the ones that I'll have my team come into here, grab those screenshots, throw into later so that I can post them on Instagram. So like sell your method first. Let me just show you guys because I think it'll be cool. I know that I posted that somewhat recently, but I know it did well here. And because it did well over here, I just moved it over. Sell your method first, sell yourself second, sell your program last. It got 350 likes. So I have a folder saved somewhere else of all of my thread posts that got over 100 likes. And if it's got over 100 likes, I'll typically repurpose it into a post, right? There's another one. All of these are super simple. Like this one's posted, I think is scheduled to post on Friday. So that's kind of been my flow, and I really like it. So the only thing that's different here, so like, at this stage, we're more efficient, right? We're more efficient. We don't have to spend Tuesdays. We don't have to spend all this time. Well, now that we're more efficient, and I still want to stick to that hour a day of creation, is what I'll do is every morning, Monday through Friday, I'll write 4 threads or tweet posts, or Twitter posts essentially a day. And I typically will start on Twitter, and then I have my team repost that over to threads when that drops. And I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second, of like how I come up with ideas for this, because this is so fast. And oftentimes I'll just repost one that's already done well, like I repost a thread or a tweet that's already done well, and I'll continue to get more engagement from it. And I think you guys saw at the start of this presentation, we're adding about 60 people to our email list every single month just from threads. Twitter doesn't really do anything, but threads right now, it's because it's so new, there's a lot, it's showing your content out to people, and like just the stats on threads are crazy. So let me show this to you, and like this is all organic. I got 1 million views just this past month, and almost all of them are non-followers. 1.2 million were non-followers of views. And this is, I wish I probably can't show you. Some of them are not the best quality. We'll say that. I wish I could share where this was when we started. This is like they just added this new insights to it. But I started this off at like 3,000 followers, I think, in April. And we've got a handful of clients from it. Again, we do get some people from India and all over. So the quality is kind of hit or miss. But again, I'm using it more from a place of inspiration and repurposing onto Instagram with the stuff that does well. So we're coming back to this again. And how I do this process is very, very, very simple. I use an app called Hype Fury. And inside of Hype Fury, it just has a bunch of inspiration for different types of content that's done well. So again, just like we did for our section over here of researching Instagram stuff, Hype Fury, there's some other versions of this too. This is an awesome platform because it's already here. So I can grab these ideas really fast, and then I can move them over here. Like you can even push reuse tweet, and then I can just change it. So let's see if I can find one that I like. Okay, do's and don'ts. Affiliate marketing do's and don'ts. I can push reuse tweet, and then I can change this to, Instagram do's and don'ts. And then I would just change out these 4 things really quick, not really think too much about it, and I would schedule. I can do that in like 3 minutes. And then I do this again. Okay, that's a good one. Marketing. 50% psychology, 50% this. So I could do marketing, 50% skill, 50%, luck, right? And then I could just make some sort of like little quote there and then post it. You know what I mean? So like this is a really efficient way to start just spinning up ideas and seeing what works. And I actually really like this. Like I have fun doing this every day. Thread hooks. So if you wanted to make a thread or a carousel, there are already proven stuff on here. I don't know exactly how they get proven or added to here, but they're all pretty awesome. They're all pretty good. Like men are facing a pandemic of low testosterone. You guys are health coaches. You could totally run with that. It's leading to lower sex drive, infertility, and lack of ambition. Here are 10 ways you can boost your testosterone naturally. This same post can turn into one of these, right? Could you see how it is? So it's like you can create a bunch of carousels on Instagram from these posts here, right? And I just do those 4 of those a day. Find what works. That's 4 of those a day, 5 days a week. That's 20 posts. Okay. I post them on Threads and I post them on Twitter every day. That's 40 additional posts. Okay. So if I was up here and I'm already, I made my 5 Instagram posts, I post them across all platforms. I'm at 20. Now, if I'm doing 4 threads / tweets a day, pretty simple, right? We're starting, I don't know if I said this earlier, but we're starting this when we're doing at least 20K a month, because if not, you don't need to do this. I mean, you could keep going without doing this. I just like this, and it is helping me grow my reach. And also because it's on Threads, because it's connected to Instagram, we'll get new followers every single day from these thread posts. And so do our clients. And that just gives us more opportunities to book calls with people who are coming to our page without spending money, right? Because the reach is so high right now. Okay. So that's all I do, right? Very simple. And this is all you need to do. Like, again, you don't have to do this part, but the key component are the phases. The phases. Don't lose the phases. Keep the phases. Block that time off. And then the last stage of this is where we add YouTube. I love YouTube. It is a very more of a bigger of a lift, because you've got more going on, and also it's a longer time from someone who becomes a lead to someone who buys from you. So I typically introduce this. I mean, I say like 30K plus months, but like once you're really cooking and you're booking calls, you've got a team who can help you with fulfillment. So like coaching your clients, you've got all that flow. This is an awesome channel to add on top of it. And this is what can push you over that 50 posts a week. And typically the only thing that's going to be different here is we're now adding a new platform we do research to, right? But the same stuff happens. Like I still block everything off very similarly, right? I have one day where I just focus on research. It's called my brainstorm day. I do them every Thursday. I have an hour blocked off to where I'm going to go do research for Instagram and YouTube. On Fridays, this is just how I actually do it. I know it's written differently. On Fridays, I write my YouTube content. On Tuesdays, I film my YouTube videos, and right after I finish my YouTube videos, I'll just keep the camera on and I'll do those reels if I got them. Sunday, I schedule. And then again, I have my team who helps me repurpose these. And I am in a phase right now where I'm trying to figure out, can I effectively outsource this and build a really good SOP for this? I'm still currently doing this, but it would be awesome to be able to outsource this and have a VA give me like 20 to 30 ideas, and I can pick and choose which ones I like. I haven't found a good process for that yet, but that is something that I know people do. Okay. And then I still stick to my threads and tweet posts in the morning. Okay. And all in all, like this takes about an hour a day. The only thing that does go a little bit over, like I said, I do 2 YouTube videos a week, and those videos can be about 30 minutes. So sometimes that will take a full 2 hours instead of an hour, because I'm filming 2 videos. But I'm also like trying to get more out, because YouTube's kind of a slower play, that I want to just like build it up over time. And if I can make more videos, it'll compound a little bit faster. Okay. So that's the process. And the only other thing that I didn't mention is with the YouTube videos, I just email those out. And I also post them on like Facebook, LinkedIn. I post them on my stories, etc. But really, if you kind of like zoom out, I'm only really making 5 Instagram posts, 1 or 2 YouTube videos, and then I write 4 things in the morning. And that, with this system, is able to produce a ton of posts and a ton of impressions that people see over and over and over again. That helps them build trust, because we needed repeated exposure to build trust. Okay. All right. So that's all the content that I've got for today. So I'd love to hear like what questions you guys have. Jared, do you want to help and just kind of like field me some questions? Is this helpful, guys? I feel like it's again, this is a very different style of presenting. I wanted to show you more of what I do and answer questions.
There's a lot of yawning in the chat.
Yeah,
I'm getting.
that's okay.
No. Really, the only question that we it came up a little bit later, but Dustin wants to know how do you typically write captions when you're in the making content phase? You already answered that one. Or is that writing content as in the stories and then caption second, or do them all at the same time?
Yeah, it depends on the post, right? So one of the posts that I talked about here is like a personal story post. So a lot of these, man, it's been a while since I posted. I mean, well, we posted one. That's a cute one.
Oh,
Let's do like this one. So, this is a personal story post. This one, the creative itself is a photo, but this was a story about me like transitioning full time online. So this I would write actually because I knew it was a personal story post. I knew what I wanted to make. I would do that in phase 3. But if I already have like some of these carousel ones, it's the same exact thing in the carousel. You know what I mean? Like I don't do anything different. It just says, here's a summary. So my VA will do this for me. She'll just write this as is. So because there's already so much text on the screen that I don't need more text, right? But if the post itself is a photo post, which is more of a connection personal story, I would write this during my making content phase. Does that make sense?
cool. Nicole wanted to know how many of them do you run ads on?
Platforms or
Pieces of
posts?
content, yeah, posts. It looks like.
Good question. I'll see right now how many ads we got going. Typically, I'll have them be separate. They won't be the same. If I do have a post that does well, I might try to kind of package it. But typically, I'll have them be separate. And ideally, with a lot of these, like I just try to shoot. I'll do a shoot where I'll try to make these like once a month. And a lot of mine are still just like the Twitter style right now. I'm going through a phase where we're changing some stuff up. But like I try to just make ads like once a month. So that is an extra time where I'd sit down and I'd be like, all right, what are I do the same exact thing though, right? So I'd come over here. You already saw I've got a save folder of paid ads that I saw. I was like, ooh, that's good, right? Some of these are carousels. Some of these are just like simple B-roll. I like the carousels because they're just fun for me. But there's just a lot of stuff in here that I've seen I liked and I just like screenshot. So they're different.
Thank you. Kimber wanted to know how much do you budget or allocate for the different services at each stage?
Good question. Now, typically, rule of thumb as you're growing is like for marketing, we want to put, especially if you're an online business owner, like you can put upwards of 20% towards your marketing. You don't have overhead, or like in a traditional business, you've got a lot more staff, you've got a physical building. So minimum, I typically say minimum. I put 10% aside for marketing. If I'm really trying to grow, I put 20% of my top line revenue. So if I made 10 grand a month, that's 1 to 2K that's going to go towards marketing. And of that, I can have a certain percentage that go towards paid ads, but also would lump in like video editors, etc. in there. So definitely at least 10% of your top line needs to go to marketing. So I think as you make more money, like you hire more people, right? It's like at 20K a month, you probably have a video editor, and you probably would run paid ads. Like that's pretty much it. Like once you get to 40, 50K a month, you might hire somebody to run your ads for you. But, if you're doing under that, you should just run them and have an editor that can help you make new videos because they're not hard to run.
Thank you. I'm going to combine two questions here. One that just came in. Is short form IG content enough to get to 20K a month? A few of the coaches have suggested doing YouTube from day one. That's like part A. And then Scorpio wants to know, why wouldn't you recommend starting a YouTube channel for someone who doesn't make 10K a month?
Yeah, great. Those are all great questions. Now, it just comes down to like your time and your bandwidth, right? Because like if you spend a lot more time networking or networking, DMs, DM outreach. I can also kind of categorize as networking because you're just connecting with people. But the more people you talk to, the more opportunities you'll have for sales. And YouTube takes a very long time before you'll make any money on it. So like it's a lot easier for you to spend more time being scrappy and like talking to more people, and running ads on Instagram to get to talk to more people. So it's just a more efficient process. Like I started making YouTube content in January of 2023. So like maybe like 16 months or so. And I mean, I could probably pull up, I showed you guys some of the tracking stuff over, where is that? Let's come back to this. Over here, it's just, it's absolute. I mean, it's just a big difference of like, sales calls from YouTube versus sales calls from Instagram. And I'll tell you, like, Jared, you can say too, like some of the YouTube ones are awesome. Sometimes we get people from YouTube or from a different country and we have to cancel the calls. So it's totally a hit or miss, and it's really hard to be discovered on YouTube. Like I'm not saying it's hard. It's just a different strategy, right? You're going to be competing with like some of the big popular YouTube people to try to get views, where like it's so easy to talk to people in the DMs on Instagram, and there's no DM feature on YouTube. That's like that's the reason that these numbers are so different, is that there's no DM feature, and like you don't know who follow. I mean, you can see who subscribes to you, but you can't really have a conversation with them and invite them to a call. So it's just way more efficient for you to just make one post a day on Instagram and start running ads. Like as soon as you have the funds to do so, again, like that 10% rule, like if you don't have any money, don't run ads. But if you start to make money, even if you're making like 5K a month, can I put $500 towards ads to start building my audience? So yeah, it's just more of an efficiency thing. You could do it, but just know that even now, 18 months later or whatever, it's just a lot slower of a platform to start to bring you leads. But let me have this one more time. So like it still would kind of fit in here, right? But for a lot of you guys, your issue is new eyeballs. You can get it from other ways, but like most people's issue with content or like with growing their business is getting eyeballs. This is an issue for time and efficiency purposes. We made this presentation around that, but I think a lot of people need this, which could be there's other sources of traffic. We find that it's just easier on Instagram.
You started to allude to this a second ago, but what would you say? Is it hiring a video editor is better than paid ads to start out? Which direction should they go?
It depends on how much video content you're making and what type of content you're making too, right? Because I keep picking on Kevin. I mean, I don't think Kevin is. I mean, we have an editor sometimes for some projects he might outsource and send him over, but typically he does all of his stuff himself. So, I mean, honestly, it comes down to like, do you like to edit? I hate editing. I'm not good at it. I'm not efficient at it. It would take me way longer. I could probably make 3 to 5 more videos in the same time that I could edit something. So from an efficiency standpoint, I don't like it, and I'm really slow at it, and I'm not good at it. So I'm going to get that off my plate first before I would probably, got that off my plate before I ran ads. But if you like it and you're good at it, then you can pick ads first. But if you don't like it, you're not good at it, and it takes a bunch of time, and it's a $20 task, I'd say get it off your plate first.
Got efficiencies, guys.
Efficiency, yeah.
Justin wants to know, I can't remember, but does Hype Fury post to Threads in X?
I think the only thing that posts to Threads by itself right now is Hootsuite. I think it's Hootsuite. No, don't quote me on it. But it's actually, they don't have a lot of API integration stuff yet. So yeah, I can show you guys what I do. Anyone here use Zapier? It's like an automation platform that does everything. It like connects all the apps. So I have a Zapier automation, whatever you call it, that will, yeah, actually I could do this in Slack too. I don't have the Slack premium version, but I have a message that pops up every time because you can see times are the same. So there's a 10:30, there's a 1:15, a 3:20, and a 5 o'clock that gets posted, and those are the same times every day. So inside of my Slack channel, I have Zapier that sends a message that says, hey, check Twitter for a post that was made, post it to Threads once it was made. And then our team, once that comes through, this is my VA, just like, cool, posted it. Cool, posted it. We don't have afternoon coverage today, so we'll post these tomorrow. But those essentially is what that happens. So right now it's still manual. Probably could use, like I said, Hootsuite or something like that to reduce it, or just to automate it. But I haven't yet. But yeah, it goes straight to Twitter. I don't have to touch it, and then they just check Twitter, copy paste.
Are you anti-X? So why you just
Exactly. No,
Sorry.
no. I don't know. Just
podcast
so used to saying Twitter, you know.
I get it. You just wanted to know: can you start running DM ads directly to a VSL if he only has 100 followers on Instagram? He has the funds to do it, but not sure if it's the right.
Yeah, you 100% can. So what he's referring to is like running ads, essentially saying, hey, I put together a free training, click the link below or DM me this word and I'll send it over. And typically what we'll do with most people if they have a newer account is we do like to try to run follower ads and try to get a bigger account and a little bit more like social proof. Because like if your account gets no likes, nothing like that, doesn't matter what type of ad you run, it can be harder to really make that work. So like if you have a decent following, it doesn't have to be like a huge following, but if you've got a decent following, you're creating good content, ads almost always work better for those people. So I like typically starting with a follower funnel first. But if you don't need to, you can 100% do messenger ads and have them go straight to you. I would want to say I think you should get at least like $1,000 first. You don't have to, but I think you'd get better responses. Because again, I'm going to ask the question I asked earlier is like, if you DM'd you, would you respond to you? And if you can't, or if you wouldn't, because you're like, I don't know, I don't see enough social proof, I don't see enough of that, then I probably would spend a little more time with organic and just doing the simple follower funnel first. Yeah. What else we got, Jared?
I think this last one came through. What's the return on investment for B2B coaching? What's the cost per book call? What's the cost per closed customer?
With B2B is going to be a little bit higher, right? So like B2C, we shoot for like B2C, which is like most like health coaches, fitness coaches, stuff like that. We're shooting for like $100 to $150 book call. I've got some clients who are like a female weight loss, they can get $20 to $30 book calls. And I've seen dating coaches too. We've had them get $20, $30 book calls. So if you've got a really good offer in the B2C space, it can be under $50, but our target typically is between 100 and 150 if you're selling a 2K offer. For B2B, B2B is going to be higher for sure. It's going to be closer to 200, 250 for a book call, right? That's typical because your pricing, hopefully for B2B, is going to be at least around 5K or above. You could be less than that, but it's going to be harder for you to be profitable. And then as you keep scaling, you'll make it more expensive because it just gets more expensive as you spend more money in ads, just the nature of it. So cost per book call we're shooting for with an ad like that is you're going to need say around 250 is like a good starting point. And then customer acquisition cost, it's still going to be around the same for B2B, which is going to be around like 1,000 to 2,000 depending on your offer. And then we're always looking for a 2 times on cash. So ideally, if I spend 1,000 and make 2,000 in cash, and I'm contracting at least 4 to 5 times on the back end, or they're not even the back end, their original what they're going to pay you within the first 3 to 6 months. That's the target. It can be a lot harder for business coaches to do the follower funnel. I've definitely seen better results for B2C with the follower funnel. The B2B depends on your market.
You got more questions, Matt? You got time? We have 3 more minutes.
Yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll close this thing out.
Question was, how do you manage to create your IG stories? Is it important, or is the content enough?
No, it's definitely important, especially if you're not running ads. I'd say it's more important. The reason I say that is because I run ads, I have so much more impressions. So people are scrolling, they keep seeing me. So they see me all the time. But if you're not running ads, it's even more important to do stories because you can give more. They can have more touch points, more impressions every day. So definitely important if you're not running ads. Definitely important if you are running ads. I don't prioritize it as much. It is an area that I know I could improve on for sure. It's just I just get focused on work and I just start working and forget about it. But I do think it's important. I would definitely at least for me, on my stories, I at least will promote my YouTube videos. So I post Tuesday, Thursdays. So I'll at least promote those twice a week on Tuesdays, Thursdays. or like, for this, I posted about this masterclass. And then at least once a week, if not twice a week, I'm going to throw a bunch of testimonials. So like we have a Win Wednesday every single week in our paid program. So I'll do my best. I have a little reminder to myself to go in and take screenshots and throw those wins up on Thursday and be like, look at all these awesome wins that our community is hosting. Again, is like social proof.
Last question here. Would it be okay to run a DM ad? Looking for 10 women looking to tone up and drop 25 pounds. Message me transform.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Of course, like we have people who run those all the time. I think 10 women's a lot. Like we typically see the looking for five, or five does a little bit better. Yeah, no, I think you can absolutely do that. Just be careful with the weight loss claims. You can typically get away with like, that drop 25 pounds, but don't put a time duration on it, right? So if you're like drop 25 pounds in X weeks, it's going to raise some flags. And one thing I've noticed too with ads in general is that you can be a little bit more aggressive in the actual ad, like the photo or video. But when it comes to the actual written copy, like your captions, be vanilla, because that's where it's a lot more regulated. So just be careful. Don't put a time duration on it. In the written copy, I probably would not use drop 25 pounds. I would feel comfortable using it in the creative, like the image or video itself. But yeah, definitely can run that. Cost per lead might be a little bit higher because you're asking people to want to work with you. So you're probably gonna look at like $10, $15 cost per lead, where like some freebies and stuff like that, you'll get closer to $5. Cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for being here. That's all I got for today. If you guys are looking for support from us, like, Jared's here, he's my man. We'll drop a link in the chat just to connect if you guys are looking for help. This is just part of what we do. Like we kind of talked about, the biggest, like the content part is more of the nurture part of everything. Having a system to bring in new eyeballs with ads, and then having a system for how do I convert those eyeballs with DMs and calls is the full picture. So if you guys want to connect, I'll shoot this recording over to tomorrow. And again, if you guys want those assets and resources that I talked about today, just DM me the word content. Cool. All right, guys. Appreciate you guys. Yeah.